Europeans convinced the world that we needed cow's milk. The problem is that most humans can't digest it. Let's start with the biology, not the culture. Biology says that most humans are lactose intolerant, and that's not an opinion. That's population genetics. Globally, 65 to 70% of humans lose lactase after childhood. Lactase persistence is highest in Northern European populations. It's not a global norm, yet here we are, touting milk does the body good. Whose milk? What milk? Europeans did not discover universal food. Not now, not ever. They exported a regional genetic adaptation, and they call that the standard. For most of human history, humans only drank human milk, then transitioned to solid foods. Cows' milk consumption at scale only appears in pastoralist societies with lactase persistence in specific regions with dairy fermentation traditions. Most cultures fermented things like yogurt, cheese, kefir to reduce lactose. And most cultures avoided animal milk entirely. So when global nutrition guidelines are centered around fresh cow milk as a standard, that was never science. It was European dietary normalization. And in the 20th century, European and American corporations actively discouraged breastfeeding, especially in places like Africa, Asia, and Latin America. They did that strategic campaign of discouraging breastfeeding to give way to the infant formula industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry. This was never accidental. It was documented. Companies promoted this idea of infant formula as modern, scientific, superior to breast milk, even in regions without clean water, even in regions without sanitation, and even in regions without healthcare access. They're promoting infant formula. And the result of that? Increased infant mortality, increased infant illnesses, and dependency on corporate products that your body produces best. And this pushing and shoving of infant formula on indigenous societies in Africa, Asia, and Latin America did get global outrage. But it doesn't change the fact that entire industries were built around demonizing breast milk, undermining breastfeeding, and amplifying man-made infant formula. Meanwhile, populations worldwide walking around here bloated, full of gas, full of pain, full of diarrhea, and completely inflamed, but never making the connection to the consumption of lactose. They question their bodies instead. They're not questioning the diet, not questioning the export, just accepting that they are intolerant. But intolerance isn't a defect. It's the default human condition. And the irony that should end any conversation on this topic is that the same cultures that normalized excess dairy intake, normalized overconsumption, normalized ultra processed foods, are now rediscovering the ways of indigenous societies that they once called savage and primitive. They are now discovering fermented foods. They're now cutting back on dairy. They're now talking about gut microbiomes all of a sudden, promoting plant-based diets, praising the same practices that they once called backwards, savage, and primitive. They ate themselves into a metabolic disaster. Now want to lecture the world on gut health and dietary standards? So let's be clear. Cow's milk was never universal. Cow's milk was never the standard. And infant formula certainly is not superior to breast milk. They exported their dietary genetic adaptations as global standards, the global truth, while ignoring the biology ignoring the culture and the consequences. That isn't nutrition. It's colonial consumption. Your body isn't broken. Your diet is. So yeah, Europeans convinced the world that we needed cow's milk. Most humans can't digest it. Cope.